So this came about. This is kind of interesting. So this guy Adam Media saw this video of CNN. This is the former Prime Minister of Israel, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. The real enemy that we have is not Iran, it is not Hezbollah, it is not Hamas. The real enemy is from within. The Messianic, crazy extremists, extreme groups of Israel's, the government Netanyahu. So the former prime minister openly states on CNN that our enemy is our government, the Israeli government. Netanyahu is the sinister minister behind all this. And as we've shown articles in the past of where Hamas originated, where Hezbollah came from, where all these terrorist groups surfaced from, where they're getting backed from, a lot of it is being sourced by, surprise, surprise, the government of Israel in order to extend the Greater Israel Project, which is the whole purpose of all this. They want to invade territories, to exert their power, to seize up land, to take over territory, to have greater political control over the Middle East. So here's the former prime minister stating this on CNN.
I will say it. The real enemy that we have is not Iran, which is an enemy. It's not Hezbollah, which is an enemy. It's not Hamas, which is an enemy. The real enemy is from within. The messianic, crazy, extreme groups of Israelis that think that they can kick out the Palestinians and annex the territories. I'm fighting against them, I'm campaigning against them, and I think that this is incumbent upon the Israeli government and Netanyahu. Unfortunately, Netanyahu depends on them politically to the extent that he closes his eyes and he allows them to do things which are totally intolerable and unacceptable.
So the fact that he was able to mention this on television, I mean, to mention that they're all still enemies, I think that was kind of his legal pass into saying this on CNN. But to basically openly state that all these different territories, all the craziness with Hamas and October 7th and Hezbollah and all these other known terrorist groups, you look at the trajectory of where they came from, it usually dawns from the people that want to commit war crimes. And people like Netanyahu is one of those figures. Just like how in the United States, we know from past exertions by people like Hillary Clinton announced that they were behind the forces that drove Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. They were drived out of the Mujahideen, which is a military operation that we created in the Middle East to go after the Soviets. That's what Hillary Clinton said back in 2010, openly admitting to that. It was our creation to have these terrorist groups run amok in the Middle East so that we could drive out the Soviets, so we could seize control of Middle Eastern territory, so we could seize control of their economy. And now look at it. Now look at the Middle East. These prosperous nations are plummeting because of our creation. And then we come in and having to fight our creation. But it's okay because we profit off of all of it. That's the whole war on terror for you. That's the whole war on terror. It's not to expel terror. It's not to get rid of it or fight the terrorists. It's to create more of it. So we have continuous warfare. So here's listen to this again.
I will say it. The real enemy that we have is not Iran, which is an enemy. It's not Hezbollah, which is an enemy. It's not Hamas, which is an enemy. The real enemy is from within. The messianic, crazy, extreme groups of Israelis that think that they can kick out the Palestinians and annex.
So he means the Zionists. He means the people that have this cult-like mindset, this political cult mindset, which is, it's nothing to do with religion. In fact, it's the total opposite of religion, the total opposite of Judaism, the total opposite of Christianity, total opposite of religious perspectives. It is a psyop created by these maniacs to create this genocide, to drive out Palestinians, to slaughter as many of them because they want to take over territory. They want to take over land. They view themselves as a superior race, as a superior being, and they want to eliminate people that threaten their superiority. That's why they have to make and manufacture stories to say that Palestinians aren't worthy. They're not humans, they're animals. And we need to exterminate them because they're a disease within our territory. That's why they have to create and manufacture and scare people and fearmonger and blackmail people into this ideologue, into this idea, because they are sinister cult figures in this heinous operation done by Netanyahu. And in order to do this, in order to cultivate this, they needed some scenario like October 7th to scare people into it. They needed Hamas to originate in order to create this genocide that we're currently aiding right now. They needed all this. And in fact, here's a headline from the Times of Israel. We've shown this numerous times before, but I just want to highlight again. This came the day after October 7th. This came after, right after the heinous attack that happened on Israel, the 9/11 of their days. This literally came the day after, when they said for years, Netanyahu propped up Hamas, now it's blown up in our faces. Isn't that seem very similar to what happened with the United States and the Mujahideen? Doesn't seem very similar to Al-Qaeda, that for years was on our side. Al-Qaeda was a freedom fighter. Osama bin Laden was a freedom fighter. Saddam Hussein was a great friend of ours. Well, to be a friend of the United States is the most dangerous thing imaginable. And that's what the president of Libya used to say. And look what happened to him. That's what Muammar Gaddafi used to say. And they killed him. He was a friend of the United States until he decided, hey, I think my country would benefit from nationalizing our resources. We have some oil, we have some economic good. Maybe we should share that profit with our cities, with our communities, within people in Libya. And we turn one of the greatest nations in Northern Africa, the Beverly Hills of them all, and completely destroyed it. And now it's a terrorist haven, a sex slave dungeon that we have created because of our interference, because we took over that nation, overthrew its government, and hijacked its resources. And in order to do that, we have to create terrorist groups for the opportunity to go to war. Just like Netanyahu had to do in order to have October 7th occur, in order to have the reason and backing to have this genocide. Because if Israel just came in and took over Palestine just willy-nilly, people would care more. People would be exaggerated. People would be exacerbated on the fact that, holy crap, you're just going to invade this territory. But now you have October 7th as an excuse. Oh, well, Hamas did what they did, so we got to go after and destroy every Palestinian. Hamas originated from Netanyahu. They had this all planned out. It was all orchestrated in order to do that. And now you have the former prime minister of Israel even speaking out on this. That the whole reason your evil terrorist groups, all these people that are attacking Israel, is done by one of the most sinister evil of them all, Netanyahu himself. Because without these terrorist groups, you wouldn't be having this genocide. You wouldn't be able to implement these heinous policies. You wouldn't be able to fearmonger every other nation to ally itself with you. And now every other nation is calling you out. The only one that hasn't is the United States. Because the United States is being blackmailed. It's bought off by AIPAC. It's bought off by the Mossad and being blackmailed to comply with this. Because the United States also benefits from this genocide. They're also looking forward to having this business negotiation. Oh, well, if we took over Palestine, well, oh my God, did we forgot to mention that there's natural gas under there? Did we forget to mention the natural mineral resources we can get as soon as we blow up these towns and cities and houses and dead bodies. As soon as we blow up the children, then everything's going to be fine. And it's all done by this. It's all done because this is their prophecy by a megalomaniac, a warmonger, who's implementing a political cult to fearmonger people into this heinous war agenda. This is all part of the Greater Israel Project. This is all part of the Zionist movement, and has nothing to do with Judaism. In fact, it's anti-Semitic towards Judaism. It's actually deteriorating and going against real Jewish people. It's a slap in the face for the Jewish community. And that's why so many Jewish people are speaking out against this. And those Jewish people are getting slapped down by the Zionists by saying that they're not Jewish. It's just a sinister, heinous cult that has brought in so many people around the globe, and they need to supplement some sort of scenario, just like we're seeing right now with this Cybertruck attack in New Orleans. They need some sort of scenario to scare people into complying with this insanely insufferable humanitarian crisis on the face of the earth. We're just pillaging, we're just killing an entire civilization in the process of this. And they couldn't do it without propping up a terrorist group to scare people into this agenda.